I'm just going to just give you a little idea of the format for this evening. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on myself. Johnny's going to give you just a very small background.
Oops.
And Johnny, I'm going to have to mute you there if you keep making noise. And then I will talk about the 5 pitfalls that I see people making when it comes to selling online courses using social media and paid ads. And then Johnny is going to take you through the advice he is going to give you in terms of online course creation. So, okay, without further ado, I'm going to move along. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Louise McDonald. I have been training, mentoring, and helping businesses since 2009. Since I was made redundant on my birthday, having come back from maternity with twins. So there's always seems to be different times in my life where things happen, and I think this feels like another time like this just now. So I specialize in social media strategy for organizations. Keynote speaking and corporate training is what I used to do. I don't do that anymore because that's all been wiped out. But I do a lot of online coaching and online training, and I have an online social media academy at sellonsocial.media. I am the author of Facebook Marketing, The Essential Guide, which I'm delighted to say was a bestseller on Amazon. And I have trained and coached over 14,000 businesses since 2009, and over 4,000 of those were online students, not actually in the last 12 months, but actually in the last 6 months. So I'm delighted to say that my online business is moving along. So I'm going to hand you over to Johnny now. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. Oh. Okay, Johnny, sorry, go for it.
Hi. Yeah, so thank you, Louise. So essentially I'm an online course coach, been training for years and years, and then launched my first online course in 2013, and since then I've launched a number of successful courses, and I take great pleasure in being able to help people to do the very same thing, and that's what I do. And more recently I wrote that book that you see there called Say It Once, Sell It Often, and I have yet to make it a bestseller like Louise has done with hers, but good healthy competition. So yeah, so that's me.
Very good, Johnny. I am just going to put my phone on silent, which I should have done earlier on as well. So just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so without further ado, I'm now going to take you through the 5 pitfalls to avoid when using social media and paid ads to sell online courses. So, okay, so basically, okay, I've been training, mentoring, coaching businesses for 11 years now. And what I was doing when I was thinking about what I was going to do for this course, I was just trying to think of the typical people that come down through the door or I meet via Zoom, and the typical issues that they face, and that's what causes them to not get the results that they want. Okay, and the first person that I want to talk about is the person that has totally unrealistic expectations. So this is the person who doesn't like social media, probably tells me that they hate social media, that they don't use it at all, and that they tried an ad once and it didn't work. And then they're disillusioned, they're not getting the results that they want, but actually the problem is that their expectations were totally wrong from the start. So when you want to start selling online courses, you need to put time, effort into it. You need to create great content, and you need to create ads, and it takes a period of time to do this. If you are looking to launch an online course in the future, you should be looking at growing your social media profile right now. So if you have come to social media with a course all ready to sell, and you want to sell that course, this is what I find. People go, oh yeah, can you help me? I have a course, and I'm so, okay, like, is there a start date? Yeah, it's starting next week. Can you help me? I'm like, no, it's too late. So people that have unrealistic expectations, that's the first thing I want to point out. So social media marketing works. Paid ads work. But if you don't have the right expectations, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to be disillusioned. So that's number one thing. Number two, people that this kind of follows on. People that totally ignore their social media for months or weeks at an end, and then they expect to get results from it. So if you are one of these people that if I went and looked at your social media channels and I found that you hadn't posted since January or February, then I'd be saying to you, that is definitely a big red flag. If you ignore your social media channels and then all of a sudden you want to sell something, so all of a sudden you start creating ads, or you start posting, or you create one post and you boost it for 3 weeks and you think that's going to work, that won't work either. So if you want to get results from social media marketing, you need to be active. Now, guys, we are in unprecedented times, okay? So you got time. Like, normally people tell me they don't have time. Now we have time on our hands. So use this time to plan campaigns, to plan content, to upskill yourself. But don't ignore your social media. And if you do, don't expect to get results from it. Okay, number 3. This one I love. So I come across people, and I have one person in my head that I can think of very clearly. And this one person, what they do is that they're active on social media, that they are producing really good content, and that the content is really engaging, and they have an audience that is growing. And that, they come to me and they say, Louise, I'm doing all the right stuff. I'm posting all the right stuff. I'm posting nice content. I'm getting engagement. I'm getting reach. But guess what? I'm not getting any business. Now, if you are one of those people, the problem can be this, that you're putting all the nice content out there, but you haven't branded your channels and you haven't positioned your business. And so what happens in that case is that you're connecting with people, but they don't know how to do business with you. And if that is the situation where you're just wasting your time. So the analogy that I like to give, this is where you're seeing the empty shop, is imagine that you are this shopkeeper and you are standing at the door of your shop and you're talking to people that are walking up and down the screen. You're talking to people that are walking up and down the street, and they're talking back, and they like you, and they think, oh, I would do business with that person because they're nice, and I like them, and they warm me up, and I'm warm to their brands. And then they walk into the shop, and what do they see? Nothing on the shelves. If there's nothing on the shelves, they'll go, oh, I don't know how to do business with this person, and they don't try too hard. They just turn around and they walk right back out the door again. So if this is your business, it means that you haven't branded your channel, you haven't positioned your business. So when somebody goes to check you out, they just can't figure out how they can buy your courses, what events you're running, what it is that you do that they can sign up for. So that can be a big problem as well. And in fact, that is a really, really common problem. So that I come across is that people are not positioning their businesses. They are not actually ready and optimizing their channels to convert interested people into paying customers. The 4th one I want to talk to you about is, now this one is when you have people that are posting on an ad hoc basis, right? So they're just posting content. They're going, oh, it's, I need to post something on my social media channel this week. So they're posting content here and there, but it's not actually part of a campaign. So they are updating their social media profiles, but it's actually not working towards anything. It's not actually going to achieve anything from them. And so when this is the situation, what can happen with this ad hoc posting is that sometimes the posting is good, the content is good, sometimes it's not so good, but I can guarantee you that there's nothing coming back from it. So if you are just using your social media channels and you go, oh, I'll post about this today, oh, I'll post about this tomorrow, oh, I'll post about this, that doesn't work. What you got to be doing is getting rid of your ad hoc posting, and what you need to do is you need to think of campaigns rather than posts. So if you want to launch an online course, if you have a new intake of people that are signing up to a particular academy or boot camp or whatever it is, okay, then you need to be thinking about what's the start date, what's the campaign, what are the campaign goals, okay, who is the ideal customer or customers for this particular campaign, what is the content that you can produce on your social media channels throughout that campaign? What are the sales funnels you are going to create as part of that campaign? What are the paid ads that you are going to run as part of that campaign? And then at the end of that campaign, you evaluate the results. So if you have no strategy, if you're not thinking about campaigns, you're probably also wasting a lot of time and potentially a lot of money. So now I just want to come to paid ads. Okay, two things at a high level I want to talk about here. If you are using ads, and this is a common problem I see as well, where you have businesses creating content on their social media channels, let's say their Facebook and their Instagram in this instance, and then they're running ads parallel to that, but the ads have no connection to the content on the page. If you're doing that, you're absolutely wasting an opportunity. Your ads need to be connected to the content that you produce on your page. So if your ads have no connection to the content that you're running, you're wasting an opportunity there. Another really common problem is that, and this is really common on Facebook and Instagram, right? So people identify the profile of their ideal customer and they create saved audiences. So they target people based on their age, where they live, their interests, their demographics or psychographics, that kind of thing, okay? And what they do is they find this ideal customer and then they just try and sell to that person. If you are selling, if you're running sales ads for your online courses to cold audiences of people that you are targeting through their demographics, so you don't know if they know you or not, and chances are if it's a large audience, they don't know you. If you are running sales ads to a cold audience like that, you will not get results. And the results that you get, the conversion rates will be so minuscule that you won't get a good return on your investment. What you got to think about when it comes to Facebook ads is getting the right message in front of the right audience. If you still need to obviously run ads to cold audiences because you need to bring them into your funnel. But you don't try and sell to somebody that doesn't know you yet. People need to know and hear about you, they say, between 9 and 18 times before they'll do business with you. So that's why you need to think of campaigns. That's why you need to think of running different messages to different audiences in order to get the best results. Okay? Just check how I'm doing on time here. And then what you need to do is you need to think of looking at your insights, looking at your ad performance, looking and seeing what is working. There are so many factors which influence the success of paid ads on Facebook and Instagram, starting with the objective that you select, the audience that you target, the image or video or the media that you use for the ad, the type of ad, the ad placement, the ad schedule. Okay, then you want to look at things like the click-through rates on your ad, the success, the results of your ad. And then what you got to do is think about testing different objectives, different audiences, different media, different schedules, testing so that you can see, okay, when I tweak this, what impact does it have? When I change this, was it a better result or a worse result? So what you really need to understand is how to read these statistics and how to interpret the results to inform future campaigns. So my key take-homes from this evening are this. Selling online courses using social media, takes time and effort. So it's important to have realistic expectations. Number 2, ad hoc posting with no purpose is generally a waste of time and resources. 3, planning campaigns. You got to think of campaigns and not individual posts. And you need to have sufficient lead times. 4, awareness content is the key to campaign success because awareness of content allows you to grow warmer audiences that you can remarket your sales content to. 5, paid ads are effective if you target the right audience with the most appropriate message. And 6, learn from existing ad performance to inform future campaigns. So that is my section of it. So 5 pitfalls to avoid when using social media for paid ads. And I've actually given you 6. So I hope you don't mind there. So I am going to hand you over to Johnny. But before I do that, I just saw a few comments coming in. So I just want to make sure that there's no issues. Oh, people are just guilty.
Just one question. How many hours per day / week should I spend on social media?
Okay, that is Maura. That is a wonderful question. And here's the answer. When you don't have a strategy, you tend to waste a lot of time and money. When you sit down and when you start devising a strategy and you know what you have to do from week to week, you tend to create your content a lot faster. It gets much better results, and you get much better return from your time and your money invested. So when I am running a campaign, if I know what I have to do, I can get through it fairly lively. If you're sitting down and you're meandering along and you're getting sidetracked with different posts, that's when you waste time and money. So the answer to the question is, it really depends on the campaign. It depends on if you're creating videos, if you're editing videos, if you're creating images, if you're, how long is a piece of string. But my answer to you is, you will spend much less time. You'll get much better results if you think of a campaign rather than just meandering along. I see more questions there. Which social media platforms are a must, from Brian Barry? It absolutely depends on who you're trying to target, Brian. It depends on, generally, if you're targeting younger people, let's say Leaving Cert students, you want to be on Instagram. If you're targeting their parents, you want to be on Facebook. If you're targeting businesses, well, then you can look at Facebook or LinkedIn. So what I would say, it just really depends on who you're trying to reach. So I hope that answers your question. The most used social media platform still would be Facebook, with nearly 3 million users every single day in Ireland. And that's replicated all over the world. There's 1 million people on Instagram every day in Ireland. LinkedIn would have far less, but it's a different focus. So for some people, I say, no, just use LinkedIn. And Twitter is great then for reaching out to the media or for reaching out to influential people in your sector. Brian, you're not on Instagram. It depends on who you're trying to reach. Some business, as I say, don't bother. Some business, as I say, you need to. Okay, that's great. Okay, so Johnny, can I hand over to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to share mine. So
will I stop share?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's give this a go and see how we go. So can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Okay, so creating an online course. So you can see Pick right now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, great. I don't know where you were gone, but anyway.
I'm here.
Yeah, you're there. Good. Okay. That's fine. Why it's interesting, or it's interesting. So yeah, creating an online course is what I'm going to cover. If I could get my clicker to click, but there you go. So I suppose the first thing that I would say is this is a kind of a summary of a bigger process, but this is what we're going to cover based on, I guess, the time that people have. A lot of people are coming to me, how do I do this fast? So I guess this is what we're going to cover, some of the essentials, not that the other ones aren't. So picking your course is the first critical part. And what I say to people here is pick a topic that you know the best, that you're best known for. That's the first thing. And then a topic that really relates to a real pain for people. And not necessarily physical, but it can be with certain online courses. But we use the term pain here because it's really painful for people, this particular issue that they have. And they'll really, they'll be glad to pay to know how to remove remove that pain. And that's what your course should do. So they want the know-how to remove a particular pain that they have. And your course, your expertise, your experience, all bundled together into the course gives them that know-how to do that. And also, ideally, another P within the pick P, if you like, is that you're passionate about the particular topic as well. Because while you might think that there's a market for your course, and it's going to be easy to sell. After a while, if you don't have the passion to market it and to keep going and to answer the questions, your course won't be a success. So ideally, it's something that you're passionate about as well. And the great thing about that as well, and it comes through with Louise there, is that if you're passionate about the topic, a byproduct of passion is energy, and energy is infectious. So it's important that you're passionate about it as well, so that you will get up and do those webinars, you will get up and do those Facebook Lives, you will do those video ads, because you'd probably give away the course if you could. You're that passionate about it, only your accountant might have other things to say. So a passion is important. And also a topic as well that aligns with your personality, that people actually not only get that you're passionate about it, but they see that there's a fit between you as a person and what you're teaching. Because if there's a misfit, they go, they won't get it. They'll be uneasy. So in summary, I guess from a participant's point of view, you remove a pain for enough people who are willing to pay. That's essentially it. And from your point of view then, it's something that you know the best, that you're best known for, that matches with your passion and your personality. So that's kind of a very whistle-stop tour of how you pick your course. A lot of people come to me and go, Johnny, I'm an expert in X, Y, and Z, and I put them through this kind of acid test when picking their course. And very quickly, actually, they go, this is the one I'm going to do first. And the other point to remember as well is that even if the first course that you create, if it is your first, and if it's not a roaring success, there's huge value in going through the process, because that's a process that you'll know and be able to do for life, is be able to create an online course. So I always say to people, there's as much value in going through the process as there is in the profit from your first course, and then go from there. The next P in the process is, generating some income from your course fairly quickly. And a great part of that process is do the pilot or soft launch, or in the software world, we would call it a beta launch. And essentially what that pilot course is your first draft. And you're basically inviting a select group of people to register and to pay to get access to this pilot course. And you mightn't even have a single video recorded yet, but you're selling in advance. Because you can say to them, it's starting in 2 weeks' time, and I'm inviting you to be a founding participant, if you like, a beta user, a pilot user of my course. You're going to get the material, you're going to get lots of support, and we're going to tweak the course together. So sometimes it's referred to as a beta launch or the minimal viable course. And what we mean by that is we put in the least amount of content that still guarantees the expectations and the result that your students want. So it needs to cover the key areas relating to your topic, that's for sure. And then the content is tweaked with your students. A huge mistake a lot of people make is they lock themselves in a room for a week and they go, now I've got my course created, here you go world, please buy it. Only to realize that people didn't want it, they didn't understand it, they still had questions, the title was a bit off, the content was missing loads of bits and pieces. So you might as well work with the students and then release it to the world based on their feedback. So you won't leave key stuff out. So that's an important part. You can enroll 20 people with a sizable discount, and then you can sell it by going to, well, unfortunately not meetings at the moment, but definitely online. You could call people up that are in your tribe already that maybe have been on a course that you delivered offline before. For whatever reason, you have some relationship and trust with them. They have exchanged money, perhaps even in some cases, with you before. And now you're saying, look, I'm taking it online. It starts on the 1st of May or the 1st of April, whatever it might be. It's going to cover these things. And I'm inviting you to join as a pilot student, to join the pilot version of it. You'll still get all the material over time, but you're going to get a sizable discount. And they'll value the fact that they can contribute their opinion as well. So the public price, when you go public with it after pilot, might be $495, and you tell them that, and you say now it's $195 for pilot access. The first course I launched back in 2013 was Facebook for Pharmacists. Some of you may know this story, but 22 pharmacists bought it before I created a single video, which netted almost 4,400 euro in sales before I created a single video, because I treated it like an event that was happening in the future, and I gave them a discount and other things to start being pilot students on it. So a pilot launch is a way you can generate some revenue, which I think we all need more than ever, perhaps, in the current crisis. And it also is a way to test, will anybody buy it? Because then you just pick a different course if they don't. The other thing that we do during the pilot phase is what we call do things that don't scale, which kind of flies in the face of, no pun intended, but it flies in the face of we want to do things that do scale. But when you're doing your pilot launch, you just really want 20 people. So if it means calling people or direct messaging people or emailing people one at a time or whatever it might be with tailored messages, we're only doing that at the moment to recruit and to get people onto the pilot. When we go public, we can then do stuff that does scale. So give them all the help they need within reason so that they will succeed, finish the course, and give you a testimonial. And in that testimonial, they're not going to say, oh, I did Louise's pilot course. They're going to say, I did Louise's course. So what you need to do, because it's going to be hugely invaluable going forward to sell your course when it goes public, is have some success stories in the form of video testimonials. The great thing about creating an online course, if you're helping people do video work, for example, is you get video testimonials. So this will ensure then that you don't leave out some key information this whole pilot phase, because sometimes, you know, we leave out key information. It's called the curse of knowledge. So if Louise is giving me directions to her house and there's a crossroads, but everybody knows, including Louise, that everybody knows that you go through that crossroads, but I don't know. So Louise has the curse of knowledge in terms of giving me directions. And then I take the next right because that's what she told me to do. I do it at the wrong crossroads and I'm lost. So the curse of knowledge is we forget what we don't know and then we leave it out of the course. Your students will keep you on track to keep it, to keep that content in there. So your pilot could generate 2 to 4K before you create your first video. Just make sure you create your course and you don't get addicted to selling and you want to recruit 20 more on another pilot course and you have nothing created. So you do need to deliver based on the date you said. When I had 22 pharmacists, I wanted to get 22 more. And then the pressure began to mount as the time drew closer to start actually recording. So don't fall into that trap. Deliver the course, which I did, but it was a bit close because, you know, it was selling quite well. But anyway, I digress slightly, but make sure you deliver the course. So your students then will give you testimonials, as I mentioned, which is critical. The next thing you just need to do, when I say just, I mean, it's the biggest part of the whole thing is the production to produce the actual course. So what I would suggest for your first course is get an external mic and do a simple slideshow where you narrate over slides, just like I'm doing now. Now you could use Zoom as well to record the course and be up in the top corner with a good camera and a light. That would be the next level. But even for your first course, talk over slides and get familiar with the production process. Get familiar with actually mapping out a course that might need to be tweaked because it's online. It might be slightly different content because it's online versus offline, stuff like that. But just get into allotting time every week to actually the production phase. Create some simple slides. As you see here, mine could have a little bit more imagery like Louise's beautiful slides. And, you know, record the presentation as you talk through it. I have a shotgun mic here, for example, and you can pick them up for like €100. I just don't like having to wire myself up every time I need to make a video. Because any resistance will be an excuse to not go and make the video and whatever. So anything that you can set up a system, like my system here in the house, which I took down from the office, I can just stand up and hit record. The camera's always in the same spot. The mic's always in the same spot. The lights are always in the same spot. Even this plant here is always in the same spot. Sorry. The joys of green screen. But anyway, so use an external mic if you can. Make sure people can hear you. Even if if the picture isn't perfect, they won't give you any leeway in terms of bad audio. You could use Zoom like we're using now, or you could use OBS to record, which is free, and you can use some video editing software afterwards if you need to top and tail it. But if you're talking over slides, It's very easy to edit. If you practice, you won't even have much editing to do. And if you're talking over slides and you're in the top corner, you're not going to be that visual and as opposed to being full screen. So the edits aren't as obvious. But at the end of the day, people aren't looking for, unless it's a course about making videos, they're not looking for perfection. All they're looking for is good content from you delivered in a way that they can understand and take action. That's what they're looking for. They're not going, if they're criticizing how you look and stuff like that, then it's a different course. With practice, as I say, you will get better and you will have to do less editing. You might just have to cut out where you hit record and cut out where you hit stop recording when you get that good at it. So it's usually clipping a few seconds at the beginning or the end. Option 2 is, of course, the direct to camera or the talking head video, as we say. You can use a teleprompter. I sometimes do, sometimes not. It depends on your own personal choice. But get a good webcam, 60, 70, 80 euro. Good light source, so I use the ring light, that's 80 euro, and an external mic. When you move up and you start to make some money, perhaps you could spend 18 euro on a green screen, which just gives you a little bit more flexibility with the background, so long as the background matches with who you are and what you're selling. And it just gives you a bit more flexibility in the home office. Like I'm in the living room, but you wouldn't necessarily think that. But it's not like having the Golden Gate Bridge behind you. People are going, why is he standing in front of the Golden Gate Bridge? Or, if the lights are off and it's all a bit blurry. So be careful with using green screen, but it does give you a lot of flexibility and it is hugely popular. The final video option then when producing is a combination of the two, which is slides and direct to camera, like we're doing now in this presentation. Other types of videos, of course, when you're producing is your screencast tutorials. If you're showing people how to use software or how to set up a Facebook ad, you can use animations as well and demonstrations where you're actually showing people how to do something like yoga, for example, or other such things. And they're similar to the how-to videos. So that's pretty much it. You map out your course curriculum, a model that I suggest you use because if you're quite knowledgeable in your field, you're kind of overwhelmed with all that you know and how do you condense it into a course. So I suggest to people, consider the 5-5-5 option. So you create 5 sections. Each section has 5 lessons. Each lesson has 5 slides. And the 5th slide is a real life example. Now, you won't get arrested if you create 6 of any of those. It's just a guide for you to go, right, if I could only create 5 sections in my online course, what would they be? So then you don't end up with, thinking, oh, there's going to be 10 or 12. If you have 12 sections, you've got 2 courses. You've got a beginner and an intermediate, perhaps. So just try and follow that model. If you end up with 4, so be it. If you end up with 2, it's too small. But try and follow that model as a 5-5-5. It just makes it easier to make things tangible. You could write them out in Post-its, map it out on the wall at home and go, right, there's my course. And then you start to record. So 5 slides for each lesson, with the 5th slide being a real-life example. Nothing works better in training than a real-life example that ties it to people's real life when you're giving courses. So there's your lesson plan. You could use a mind map software, 5 sections, 5 lessons, 5 slides, and the 5th slide is a real-life example if you're using slides. Then the final thing that we're going to cover is just publishing it. You can create a free account on Teachable, although now with a new account on Teachable, you can only have 10 students, which is a new change. With Thinkific, it's unlimited. I use Teachable. Louise uses Thinkific, so we can bounce ideas over and back and arm wrestle about which is the best. So upload your videos and your resources and you're good to go. The learning management systems, as they're called, they'll manage the payments and you can track student progress, see who's registered, all that kind of great stuff to see how they're getting on in the course. They can answer questions within the course. It all comes off the shelf with any of these good learning management systems. Okay. So now you have, I hope, a framework to get started. If you need additional support, of course, and accountability, we have another option for you this evening. And that is our Reach More, Teach More that's coming up. And Louise is going to talk you through what we're going to cover on day one, because that's her day.
Okay, so I'm just conscious of the fact that there's lots of questions and comments coming in, and what we're going to do is go through those at the very end. So hang on, and we will get through everybody's questions and comments if that's okay. So just want to give you some background. Myself and Johnny met sometime in January, I think it was, and we decided that we would come together and we would run a 2-day all fully immersive masterclass called Reach More, Teach More. And we were going to run this two-day event in Carrick-on-Shannon, and we were going to run it on the 24th and 25th of April. And for those of you who saw me speak at the Biz Expo in City West, which actually was on the 22nd of February, I just looked it up earlier on, I announced that we were going to be running this 2-day event in Carrick-on-Shannon. And of course, everything has changed since then. So I think it must have been about 3 weeks ago, probably more, I rang Johnny up and I said, I don't think we're going to be able to run this event in Carrick-on-Shannon because I don't think we'll be traveling, or I don't think it would be safe to ask people to come from all parts of the country to Carrick-on-Shannon. And so what we decided to do was to take our 2-day masterclass event, fully immersive event, and to move it online. And so what we have decided to do is to run 2 days online. So there would be two half days. So 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Friday the 24th, and then the following week again, which is, what date is that, Johnny? You might remind me.
The first. So you did the slide there as well, but it's the first.
Oh, it's the first of May. So do you want me to go to my slides again now? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay. Where am I? Okay, so let me so we have a really special offer that we want to offer you this evening. And thank you very much for tuning in and sticking with us. So just bear with me 2 seconds now while I share this screen. So this is our Reach More, Teach More event that we were going to be running in Carrick-on-Shannon. And now we've decided to do it live and online. And we're running it on Friday the 24th of April and Friday the 1st of May. And so the full access course is €795. But we have a special bonus, a special offer that we'd like to offer you this evening, and thank you so much for tuning in. So day one, part one of day one is going to be me. So I'm going to kick off at 10 o'clock on Friday, the 24th of April. And what I'm going to be talking about in that first section of the training are, first of all, 2020 social media trends. And by goodness, there are some major trends in the way that we are consuming social media. I'm also going to go through then having realistic expectations, a little bit more about that. And then I'm going to go through 7 steps to creating a social media campaign for online courses. And that is going to be really, really important, along with my hobby horse, optimizing social media channels for conversions. So this is, as I said, one of my pitfalls, people not optimizing social media channels. So we will be looking at Facebook, we will be looking at Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. It's just not there. So that's the first section of day one. Then on the day one as well, part 2, I will be handing over then to Johnny. And Johnny, what will you be covering?
Yeah, so of course, essentially why we should create an online course, and not just in times like this, but it's all about creating a freedom business essentially, and having more time for yourself, more time for your loved ones, and not exchanging time for money and getting out of the time for money trap. And also, as I say, at times like these, it's even more relevant. But I mean, I've been doing this for years. I just didn't start doing this because there's a pandemic. I'm doing this for years, and it is a game changer. So that's what we're going to be covering. 5 ways to get started fast, of course, and then how to repurpose your course content. So the great thing about having an online course is that by default, you've got great content, as Louise mentioned, for your social media marketing. And that's what we're going to cover on that particular part.
So still on day one, I'll take over on part 3 then for day one. And what this is all concerned about, the first part of this will be, of part 3 will be just creating content. So in order to create content, you need to understand the 5 stages of the customer journey. And then you need to understand the different categories of content and the different categories of content that you should be creating for each stage of the customer journey. Then I'll be showing you the 6 steps to plan content for your social media campaigns. Because for me, the ads won't work if you don't have the content. It's all about the content. And the better your content is, the less money you'll spend on ads and the better results you'll get. And then I'm going to introduce you to the first part of the training on paid advertising, which is understanding audiences for Facebook and Instagram ads. And I'll be walking you through the audiences. So there's lots of different audiences that you can create. I'm just going to be selecting the audiences that you should create for online course creation. So I'll just make it really simple for you. You can take away all the noise and just focus on what you need to do. So that will bring you through day one. Then on day two, which in the morning of day two, I will be handing you back to Johnny. And Johnny, you will be doing?
Yes, so picking is the first thing that I'll be doing, and we went through it there fairly quickly, and hopefully you got some useful tips on how to do it. That's what we'll be covering in a bit more detail. We'll also be covering pricing. A lot of people come to me and say, Johnny, how much? Is it based on the duration of the course? Is it based this, that, and the other? We've got great tips on how to choose the price. And then planning your course content, your curriculum, and just be, from experience, to be aware of the difference between delivering it online and offline, and where the engagement factors need to increase and all that great stuff, and how you can't see the room and you can't see somebody falling asleep if they are. So you got to be mindful of all of that with the online stuff. And then generating your income. So that's the pilot launch. So again, you got a little bit of an insight into that strategy, and you can go off and use that strategy as a result of this evening. But we'll be going into it in a bit more detail in terms of different ways to do it, and email follow-ups and sequences and content. And then producing your course lessons. So everything from the lights, camera, action, cheap and cheerful equipment that can end up looking like something that you can produce from your kitchen that looks like this, apart from my ugly mug, but everything else will look good. So yeah, that's what I'll be covering on part 4.
Okay, and then part 5, I will take over again, and this time we'll be looking at remarketing techniques for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So when it comes to conversions, sales only really come when you are remarketing. So I'll be showing you remarketing techniques, and then it's not even just about the remarketing, because I have people who come to me who are doing all the right things in terms of remarketing, but their ads still aren't successful. So we will look at other factors which will influence ad success. And we will look at 5 online course ad strategy campaign strategies as well. So we'll be giving you different ideas for different campaigns that you can run. And then at the very end, I've gone to understanding ad performance so you can adapt future campaigns. Because, when it comes to social media marketing, the answer is there is no answer. The answer is there are all these variables which influence the success or not of your social media paid campaigns. And if you understand when you tweak one, the impact it has and on your success or not, then at least you can make informed campaigns. So that's what I'll be going through in the final part of my section, which is part 5. And then I'll hand you back to Johnny.
Great. And finally then, part 6, why webinars are the best show in town, and they really are, for generating sales. We'll be going through webinar formulas, just really kind of giving you, painting by numbers. Here you go, fill it in, and you'll be able to run a successful webinar. And then tying it all together to maximize your success. So you will get your hands dirty with the equipment. It will be quite practical in terms of, like, obviously we're going to have to replicate it online, but you will be seeing layouts, floor plans, really just out of the box, painting by numbers. That's what we're going to be covering in terms of the webinars and the production.
Okay, and so the good news for you guys is that we have an early bird discount, which is valid till this Friday. So this Friday being the 27th of March. So if you go to reachmoreteachmore.ie, you'll be able to see that the early bird discount is available just from now until Friday. And so with that discount, you are getting the full 2 days with myself and Johnny, where we will help you literally every step of the way to get your online course created, and that you'll start getting your marketing together, your social media marketing, because the time to start selling your online course is the minute that you start creating it. And so at the end of the 2 days, the Friday the 1st, 24th, and Friday the 1st, you really will have learned so much. And one thing that I have always said to Johnny is, I've been creating online courses now for years now, but I wasted so much time myself trying things, going on, trying this, seeing what worked, then coming back, trying something else, launching something, tweaking it, launching something else, and learning. Like, I'm learning all the time, and I'm getting better all the time, and I'm getting more success all the time. But I would have been much better if I had done something like this, because I would have saved all that time that I potentially wasted, and money and time and resources. So that's why I think this is actually a really, really good thing to do for people. Johnny, have you anything to add to that while I go and look for all these chats and comments?
Well, I can totally relate in terms of spending time and money and wasting it on ads. And now, you know, since I've met you, they definitely have improved. So yeah, I mean, it's good to learn a couple of things, for sure. It's just if you want to do it faster and cheaper, getting help definitely is a good way to go.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the screen now, because I want to be able to see my questions and answers. Sorry, they just wouldn't come up for me there. So I just need to go back to where we started. So.
Yeah, so Pat says, have you got, sorry, Sinead, have you got a campaign briefing template to guide us? I think that's the first question in the chat. Have you got a campaign briefing template?
I don't have a campaign briefing template, but you know what I have at the minute on my own? If you go to sellonsocial.media, you can get a free copy of my 2020 Facebook workbook and 12-month content calendar. That's free till the end of the month. It's $9.99, but it's free because of the whole situation that we're finding ourselves. So I've just made it for free. You got to use the code Stay Safe, and you'll get 100% discount on that. So Sinead, you're very welcome to check that out, and that will really help you with just even with content planning and with ideas. But it's not a campaign briefing. That would be something that would be slightly different. So just moving down here from Pat, I've been giving away a course free. I'm seeing as it is a learning for now, increasing my mailing list and making much deeper connections. Now I need to take it much further to a paid course. This is a bit of a hobby horse of mine, Pat. I hope you're not going to get me started now, but sometimes I think that when people see online courses, that they expect them to be free. And I kind of get to the stage where I go, you know, you can give so much away for free, but then at the end of the day, this is your intellectual property. This is something that you've been working on, you're building up your expertise for years and years and years and years. And don't be afraid to charge for it, Pat. By all means, people want to get to know you, and sometimes it's really hard even to get somebody to watch a free webinar or a free training if they don't know you, because it's not free if they have to give their time. But what I would say to you is you need to also value your time. So yes, give some away for free, have your lead magnets, absolutely, but don't give everything away for free. So so that would be my take on it. You know, if we give everything away for free, we would have no income. So we can't afford to do that. I hope that answers your question. Do you have anything to add to that, Johnny?
No, that I totally agree. It's important to do a couple of lead magnets and give away free. So look, a free foundation course and then a paid version with more content for sure.
Exactly. Laura has a comment here. When it comes to platforms, Johnny, is there a particular one you recommend? Obviously, it may be different for various different businesses. I'm working about platforms such as Kajabi versus getting my WordPress site adapted by web developers. So if I have something to add to this, because I did both of those. So if you want to answer that first, Johnny.
Yeah. So Kajabi is it $150 a month now. As I said before, the best one is the one you use. I mean, a lot of people use research as a form of procrastination. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's just to sell a course and have a paywall and manage students, then Teachable, Thinkific, they're all perfect. I wouldn't be a big fan unless you really need quite unique, specific features and functionality. I wouldn't be a big fan of getting it something bespoke built unless you really need, as I say, something specific. And WordPress, there's WordPress plugins like LearnDash and a bunch of others. Again, I wouldn't recommend them because you have to host a video somewhere, and if WordPress updates, it could break it, and it really is a bit of a house of cards to do with WordPress. Teachable have got another couple of million investment. They're constantly innovating. Thinkific is the same. It's a one-stop shop where they'll unlimited students at certain price plans unlimited courses, all the videos sitting in one place. It's their business to make it good. People that build free plugins, you just don't know. They'll wake up some morning and go, why would I bother keep doing this and supporting this when I'm not making any money from it? So I wouldn't be a big fan of the WordPress route, to be honest.
And actually, that's what I did when I started. So I've done all the things you're not supposed to do.
You have the T-shirt.
Yeah, I have that T-shirt too. So I had a WordPress site, and I just put on a membership, like training platform onto it. And to be honest, I moved away from it. Like Johnny said, I had to get the videos hosted on Wistia, and the video hosting there alone was €100 a month. And then it was clunky, and it just never looked as good as the other platforms. And then, of course, as Johnny just said, when everything went out of date, and all the it would just fall over. And then at one point, there was one major issue with the plugin that ended up causing me an issue with Google itself. So I still have louisemcdonald.com, but I've taken my membership platform totally away from it, and I use Thinkific. So Thinkific, they're not cheap, those platforms, but you're buying into all the functionality straight away, and payment, like it's really easy to set up, and you just need to make sure that it's in your business model to make sense.
Absolutely. And I mean, the monthly fees, as people say, all these monthly costs, if Teachable is costing you money, or Thinkific, if they're costing you money, then you're not using them right. They should be. I mean, you're not going to set up a taxi service and buy the car in 6 months' time when you have the money. Some of these things are just crucial. And I think it's negligible, really, when you're selling 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 euros a month worth of online courses, that $30 or $40 a month should just be negligible.
Exactly. And then Maura Martin, I have a 4-week course on screencast. Is that okay with PowerPoint slides, Johnny?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Maura, a course on screencast. Like screencast tutorials, obviously, where you capture the screen using something like Camtasia or OBS. So if you want to pop something extra in there with regard to more specifics, I'm happy to answer it for sure, or follow up afterwards with an email to Louise, and I'll definitely personally reply. Zoom only has a certain free time frame, 40 minutes. On a group, and but it's not really necessarily an online course delivery platform as such. I use it for group coaching on my online courses and programs, but I don't use it unless I use a Zoom webinar, which I used to use. I use something different now, but it definitely has a limit on the free version for sure. I use
Camtasia. I love Camtasia for what I need to do.
Well, Zoom for meetings and Camtasia for editing. Oh, for sure, setting up all my equipment in my new home office was a game changer for me, Johnny. I can record videos so much quicker. Absolutely, I mean, it just makes it so efficient if you have a designated area. There's nothing worse than having to set stuff up every time you want to record. So great. I want to make evergreen courses. Would you host a course on a different platform so that you purchase from my website or social? My course will be a mix of slide. Evergreen, again, use a learning management system, in my opinion and my experience. You don't need a different platform. They all do. Evergreen is where the content isn't going to change dramatically, like good marketing practices, good sales practices. They've been the same for 100 years and they may not change dramatically. That's what we mean by a good evergreen content. A Facebook ad course is hard to make evergreen because it could be green today and blue tomorrow. So that's the challenge. But all the platforms will handle it. Once you pay the hosting, they'll make them evergreen for you. And a good mix of slideshow and audio meditations is great. It's good to mix up the content. One lesson could be a downloadable worksheet PDF. Another one could be direct to camera. Another one could just be audio. Depends on the content, but it's good to mix it up for the student, your audio visual learner, and your kinesthetic and all this great stuff. I've used my laptop, which is relatively new, and it doesn't have an insert for a mic, but I can hear the laptop making a background noise. I'd be surprised, Louise, if it doesn't have some way of plugging in a mic, but there are ways around it. But ideally, I would definitely double check. I'd be surprised if it hadn't. Teachable or Thinkific, Patricia, they have payment built in. Yeah, that's correct. And it's suggesting for landing page details. I use WordPress and Divi Builder. I'm just not going to pay a monthly fee for landing pages that I don't use every month. So Divi's quite powerful, $89 once off for building your entire WordPress website and more. And then I just looked at a few templates that I liked and had success and done a course or two and build my own. So I know people paying $70 a month for lead pages and stuff like that, and they have one lead page, and they don't even use it every month. That's a huge fee. So I would suggest cheaper ones than that. And I think there is a fairly decent WordPress one that's cheaper than that. So look at ones that work and see, can you, if you're using WordPress, see, can you build your own? It would be my advice. I don't know. I know the fitting in the ones like lead pages is good. Anything on lead pages, Louise, before we wrap up? Or not wrap up, but it just...
I've run some. I know you're totally not into MailChimp, but I've set up landing pages there really, really easily for lead magnets, and I found it really good for automating it and for populating email addresses into specific audiences. So MailChimp is, and like it's free if you have under a certain amount of people on your list. So that's a good one to start with as well, if you're looking for low cost options. So Deirdre, I'm looking to adapt what is already a very early startup and bring it online. The business is home staging. Right now, people obviously who are buying and selling properties are somewhat on pause, and I'm planning on helping people with preparing their own properties ahead of the property going online for sale. Aside from covering very generic content, that's already available online. Do you have any suggestions as to how I could help individuals prep their properties?
A course on it?
Yeah, you could have a course on it. You could, you could set up you got to think of ways that you can monetize it. Do you want to have a...
Yeah, there's a lot of successful courses there, how to increase the value of your home when you're selling it, like from the basics of tidying and stuff like that to lots of different tips and techniques. Huge in real estate in the States. So yeah, definitely a course in that.
And like there's absolutely wonderful ideas for content around that as well. So there are some people who have just grown amazing social media presences just by giving a tip every day on how to clean something. So yeah, there's definitely potential there. I don't have all the answers right here at this moment for you, but definitely there's lots of potential there. And look to the people that are already doing it well. Carrick is a very dangerous place, from David Brophy.
Yeah, it is.
Aoife O'Brien, is there any way to track insights on LinkedIn? Yeah, there is. You have insights on posts on LinkedIn. They're not at all as powerful as what's available on Facebook. So you have more. They have improved a little bit over time, and the Facebook pages are trying to improve a little, or the LinkedIn pages are improving a little bit, but not at all as powerful as on Facebook. Deirdre, can you please email all slides to attendees? Helen, Reach More, Teach More, is it SkillsNet funded? No.
Sorry, I'm afraid not.
Is this a live training, or are there video replays if one cannot attend live? It's live, but there is a replay for it as well. Yeah, Deirdre Martin, where do we find that? Oh, the slides. I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know how I make slides available. We'll have to think about that. I'll send you an email.
The slides from this evening.
Yeah. I don't know if it's worth sending on, really. They're just more visual than anything.
Okay.
How long can a live course be? As in, how long do you keep learners live?
Do you mean per session or... there's live support and then there's live delivery. I do live support once a week with my current program participants. We have a group coaching call every Friday for 6 months, but that will be ongoing as new people join. If you mean how long does that keep going, but that's your own personal choice. If you're delivering live, I've delivered live for 3 hours with a few breaks. I'm just off one that was an hour and a half with one 10-minute break, and everybody stayed. So, I mean, if you mean that kind of live, then I've done them up to 3 hours. So just a couple of breaks and interaction, and that's how you can keep them alive.
It really depends. If you're live, it really depends on what level of interaction you're going to have with the participants. So if you're here, let's say, as we are here, and you're there, but we can't see you or hear you, or not inviting you onto the screen, the chances are you deliver that live training a lot faster. If you're inviting people onto the screen and you're stopping and giving exercises and asking people questions and asking for their feedback, you can nearly double the amount of time it'll take to deliver the training, that level of training. So I hope that answers your question. Will you provide us with platforms on your courses? Yes, that will be covered on our course. Is Adobe Connect any good to use? Helen has said, and I'm just going to, well, your chance of checking that, I'm going to check the questions and answers. I'm going to John in.
Yeah, Adobe Connect, it is a bit of a hammer to crack a walnut. It's very popular in the academic world. No more than Adobe Photoshop. I mean, if you can use Canva and it fits your needs, and Canva is great in comparison to Photoshop. Adobe Connect is kind of the same. It's a really powerful solution. It's probably overkill and only used for delivering live. So you're as well off with Zoom or a webinar platform.
So I'm just going to go over to the questions and answers now. So I've just answered some of those, so I'm just missing them. So Brenda Clark, what is the ideal length of time for a campaign? Excellent question. I would be thinking weeks rather than days. So people tend to think of campaigns in terms of days rather than weeks. And I would say it really depends on what you're trying to sell, but I would be saying weeks. And the thing is, Brenda, sometimes when you're running a campaign, you'll be reaching people that won't convert this time, but they may convert the next time. So all activity that you engage on in your social media will bring dividends. Some of it comes sooner rather than later. So that's what I'd be saying. But obviously it depends on the type of campaign and the type of content, the type of courses that you're running. Okay, and obviously how much people are spending, that's going to have an impact as well. Roisin is saying, hi Johnny, can you recommend a green screen and where to purchase? I have been recommended an Elgato screen. Thanks, Roisin.
Yeah, I just bought this one from Amazon for €18. It's all about the lighting. You can't even see the creases are in it. The creases are a myth. It doesn't, I mean, as long as they're not huge, it's all about lighting. If you don't have even lighting, no green screen will work properly. But I'm not sure what you think of the quality of this one. But you can see there, you can, let's say if we use the reception from work. I mean, if you're standing in the wrong place, it kind of goes all a bit weird. You can see, for example, there, that's just lighting. You need the darkest room possible, no ambient daylight coming in on your green screen if at all possible. I've got bin bags on the walls or on the windows, I should say, not on the walls. But it's all about even lighting. If the lighting's off, you see that's possibly even better. If the lighting's off, it all goes skew. So it's not about the cost of the green screen per se. It's all about even light in the right position.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Roisin. Mary O'Sullivan, hi, we are a very small company who are exploring Zoom, and our priority is to initially gain data from a student to find their specific topic of interest. How do you set this up? You want to gain data from your students to do some research. How would you do that? Well, I suppose there's a few different ways that you can do that. Have you thought about doing surveys or doing picking up the phone, having conversations with different students?
SurveyMonkey, yeah, Google Forms, SurveyMonkey came up there. Thanks, Jean.
Yeah.
A couple of options in collecting the data, all right.
Yeah. So I actually am a firm believer in having a short list of about five different people, a few different questions, picking up the phone and having 5 conversations. You'll do it in 2 or 3 hours and you'll learn so much. And then after that, you could maybe do a survey. But I actually think you learn more by picking up the phone, to be honest. That's definitely what I always recommend. I hope that answers your question. Mary Anne-Marie Clark, I have content which I'm passionate about, have never delivered an online course. But you are mentioning so many platforms. I think I might have too many choices. So Anne-Marie, so that's why we're running this course, Reach More, Teach More. And what we want to do is, like, we're throwing lots of information at you here in like just half an hour. That's why I think it's just so useful to have this information over 2 days. And you know, when you sign up to the course as well, we'll find out more information about you and what you're trying to achieve, and we'll be able to guide you, you know, throughout that course as well. So I hope that answers your question. Don't get afraid because of so much information. I suppose we're just trying to show you all that maybe you know, or some people are further along than others, and some people will get more out of, or different things out of this live webinar. But what we need to also realize is what we don't know, so that we can obviously address that as well. So I hope that answers your question, Anne-Marie. Yvonne Connolly, hi, we are an educational consultancy and we want to present to students online via Zoom maybe. How would you set up data capture form for students to fill in? When we go to schools, we normally get them to do this on a tablet, but under the circumstances, we need an alternative. Any advice? Johnny?
Yeah, you'd have to do it separately. I mean, apart from polls, as somebody mentioned with Zoom, you wouldn't be able to do it. There's webinar platforms where you can ask questions and stuff like that, but it isn't going to collate the data in any easy way to administer. So I guess you just have to encourage them to have the survey open at the same time as Zoom, share the screen with them and remind them to do it. And while they're watching the Zoom, or give them a couple of minutes during breaks to pop over and to fill it out. You know, there's that I know of, no live meeting platform that has any decent survey functionality.
Okay, so I suppose it also, if you're going to have a small number of students in the classroom with you, what I do when I have a small number of students is that I invite them onto the screen so I can actually chat to them, and I use that time to gather information on, so that if I'm delivering training and I need to know who's there, what stage they're at, what they want help with, it actually has an impact on the training that I deliver on that particular day. Maybe that answers your question as well, Yvonne. If not, send an email and we'll give you more detailed information on that. Okay, so I think we are nearly done.
Yeah.
I think somebody asked me something. Louise, what was the link you said available? Loved your book. Thank you so much, Helen. So if you go to www.sellonsocial.media, look down through the courses, you'll see the 2020 Facebook workbook and content calendar. If I was really fast now, I'd be able to find you that link. And when you go to purchase it, put in the code stay safe, all lowercase, and that will give you the 100% off that particular course. So people are just making comments there. Okay, I think we're done. Got way over time, but I did want to stay on and answer everybody's questions. I hope we have done that. So that early bird is available until Friday. So €495 for 2 days training is pretty good value with 2 experts in your fields. You will come out of this the other side well informed and ready to hit the road running. You're welcome, Anya. Thank you so much. Thank you. All the thank yous are coming in. Thank you, everybody. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me, myself or Johnny, over the next few days. We'd be very, very happy to help. So don't be stuck. Don't be stuck on anything. Feel free to get in contact. Okay, everyone, stay safe.
Thanks very much. See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.